It's interesting because we look at the rehab, we look at the recovery, and I used to believe this was my transformation story.
You went through intense rehab, dozens of different surgeries. Mm-hmm. Take us into what that looked like. How were you able to regain that strength to make it through that ordeal?
So 24 surgeries over the course of the following probably 5 years, intensive physical and occupational therapy. You know, I often talk about how I was a little bit in a fog in those first 2 years because though I was in the midst of it all, I didn't have to worry about the logistics, right? So even if I was doing a 6 a.m. therapy session before second grade, like it was just became normal and my mom took care of a lot of it. Now, what I also recognize and understand is like our bodies are spare parts bins, right? I've got scars on both calves because they took veins for circulation. The scar here on my left thigh, they took my gracilis, which is one of the 3 muscles that pulls your legs together to be able to give me a bicep so I can use it. I do not have a tricep still today. So if I lift my arm above my head, cool. But at the same time, I can extend it and I can use it functionally because I've learned how to adapt. My lat was taken for filler muscle on the left side of my back. All of it died. So I have no lat on the left side of my back. So there were all these decisions that were made. I mean, the surgeon flagged and tagged nerves in the very first surgery, knowing that it would be probably 6 surgeries later before he'd go in and attempt to repair them. Truly, there was like a rewiring of everything. I mean, not only from a PTSD standpoint, but our brains and our bodies are miraculous in what they're capable of. You know, the concept of embracing pain to avoid suffering is kind of came from this period because the idea of seeing their son grow up without the use of his left arm was a source of great potential suffering. So they literally willed themselves day in and day out to do what was necessary, what was tough, to embrace the pains required to strengthen and heal me. And so what I can say definitively is that if it was not for the infrastructure of my family unit and the strength that they provided, I would not have function of my arm today. You know, my mom would make me figure out how to tie my own shoes with one hand, and she'd be around the corner crying because she knew it was easier to just help me, but that it wasn't actually preparing me. There have been many moments that I've reflected back on this. It's not my transformation story. It's not even my origin story. It's a story that provided a ton of perspective, that forced me down paths that I wouldn't have otherwise, that have allowed me to see more clearly who I am and what I'm capable of, despite whatever perceived physical limitation might exist.